Good evening, dandies. Welcome to Undetermined, the podcast.
A friend of a friend, but he
So, how's it going, man? Let me introduce you real quick. We're real bad about not doing that. So, today on Undetermined the Podcast, special guest, Mike Cosgrove of Alien Ant Farm.
Yeah.
Welcome, my friend.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me on. And it was a little bit of a hassle, but I'm just like a little bit tech deficient. So thank you guys for helping me.
Trust me, we've had all kinds of fun tech stories.
Oh yeah,
doing this. You are far from the worst one.
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually not too bad. It's just like more like this kind of stuff. I'm sitting in. I have one room where I have it's like my editing little like station, and then in my living room I have my desk that goes down to my basement where I have my studio, and we're actually currently recording the record and doing some stuff here like right now. So we've been recording. We did all late last night, and then so my point is that we do have a lot of cool tech stuff going on here. It's just when it comes to these podcasts and this and that, it always seems like I'm one step behind. So again, thank you.
Oh, no problem.
We're all good. We're all good. Yeah, you do some producing as well, don't you?
Yeah, lots. You know, so we're here. We're busy. We've been like we started just before, I want to say about pretty much the end of last month. We decided because we started this record on Megaforce that we're doing. We started before pandemic hit, and then we took off. We did this tour over in Europe with POD, and we came home, and literally, I want to say 2 weeks after that or so, that's when the pandemic hit. And so I was kind of like stoked, like, hey, you know, we're going to take a break, be like, you know, maybe a couple weeks or something like that, you know, but it turned into what it turned into.
Yeah.
And but I was like kind of stoked, you know, okay, well, we get a little break. I could hang out. My daughter's home. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like a blessing for me. I know it was a terrible time for a lot of people, but anyway, blah, 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 all that stuff. It was like cool. We had 4 songs done and everything was like kind of going, and then everything just hit and then just kept going. And so we kind of were back and forth. We didn't know where we were like at, you know, as a band and this and that. So all that time passed. And so now everybody's in like a better place. And so we decided to finish up this record, you know, 2 years later now. So it's been going really, really good. And so we're doing it here at my house. We did the first 4 songs with a girl called SJ, who produced the first 4 songs, and an engineer called Lucas. And then we're doing the rest here. So we're about like 5 more songs deep right now. And we're just going to keep on going throughout the end of the year and finish this record. And we're also announcing that we just joined on, and no pun intended, I guess pun intended, greenlit this tour that we're going to do with Hoobastank and Lit starting October 14th in Nashville, and ending November 8th, I want to say, in Odessa, Texas. So it's going to be kind of like a little Midwest, and I think we're going to hit the Carolinas, Florida, somewhere like kind of the Southeast there, and Texas. So
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you blowing through Missouri?
You know what? I don't think. Let me check on here. I don't think we're getting through Missouri.
That's okay. We're used to that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't really generally like to go to Missouri, so we.
Yeah.
Actually, it's kind of fun. We had a good time out there. We did like, was it Pops right there?
Oh yeah, like East St. Louis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That
That's
can be
a fun place. It's like open 24/7. You know.
Yep. Yeah, that can be a rough joint.
Yeah.
It can be, but it can be a good time too. Yeah, a lot of good shows go through there. Yeah, it's kind of a wide swath, and you really only got a couple spots you can hit. But we're in Missouri. Matt's in Kansas City.
Yeah,
and I'm in Columbia, Missouri. Go Tigers!
I don't know if we've been into Columbia. I mean, we used to do that. Was it Point Fest that used to be the
in St. Louis?
St. Louis.
Yeah, we would do that. We did that a few times earlier on, and then we played. Actually, my drum tech had met his wife, who's now his ex-wife. She was a bartender at, was it a place called like Mississippi Nights or?
Yes,
Oh man, yeah, it's not there anymore.
Yeah, it was like, yeah. So
That was one of my favorite places to go see a show, though.
Legendary.
There was a band that we used to play with out there. Our friends, Waving Not Drowning, or Drowning Not Waving. They're like a hardcore band.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they're out of there too. So
yeah, I'm not familiar.
No, I'll have to check it out though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know all about you Missourians.
We're all the same too.
Yeah, every one of us.
Actually, my grandfather, he actually lived here at my house with me. I retired and was a truck driver. He actually lived in Missouri for years and years, but he just passed away. But so I have family that actually derives from there. And I'm actually wearing a Rams tank top right now.
Well,
I'm a big Rams fan. Before they stole them, you know what I mean?
Where did your grandpa live?
I don't know. It was between there and like Iowa. They had like a couple farms and they go back and forth. So he was born in 1937. So it was like earlier on. It was
corn country. Yeah.
Country, no man's land up there.
Yeah.
It's all flyover, all farm. I mean, there's like, you got Columbia, St. Louis, Kansas City in a line, and you can pass everything else.
I knew a girl from New Athens. It's New Athens or whatever. I don't know if you guys know that place, but anyway, it's in Missouri. I remember knowing somebody from there.
No, I have no idea.
That's got to be small because I don't.
Got to be small. Yeah, real small.
Yeah, it's real tiny.
For those who aren't familiar with your past, or I don't know who these people would be, especially if they listen to our show, but you grew up in Riverside, right?
Yeah, born in Long Beach, California.
Long Beach. All right. All right on. When did you move to Riverside?
We went to Orange County first. We had family there. So Riverside was 85.
Okay.
So most of my life has been Riverside.
Did you meet Dryden there like before you started a band or?
Yeah, well, Dryden and I, we met, we were like 14 and I was playing in a band, like a garage band. We just played a bunch of like Metallica and Iron Maiden and Slayer covers. And, so we were playing like in a garage, and one of the guitar players, we played at his mom's house. He went to middle school with Dryden, and so he had Dryden stop by to come hear us. And he played guitar, but I only knew him just as like our guitar player's friend.
Huh?
And he came over to this garage, and it's like when I first met him, because I was pretty metal, you know what I mean? Like we were all like super metal. And so, there's like a lot of goth and stuff like that. And then there was like hair bands, like kind of like that stuff. But we were like kind of thrash and metal. And we liked Primus and different stuff like that. But we were kind of more on that side, like Suicidal Tendencies, Slayer, like, Defiance, Obituary, like we were into death metal, all this stuff. That's kind of that was our thing. Sepultura, Forbidden,
right?
And the band Excel. I actually played in Excel for a while. One of my favorite bands growing up. But anyway, so Dry came with a couple friends and came to hear us play, and we were playing. But Dry was wearing eyeliner, and I was just like, "Yeah, wearing fucking eyeliner, dude. What's up?" You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But he also had a Frank Zappa shirt on. So I was like, Zappa's pretty rad though. So I'm like, what the fuck do I think of this guy? He's wearing eyeliner. He's got Frank Zappa on. You know what I mean? Like I was a little confused, And I think that kind of set Dryden up, I think, forever he's still that guy. He's got a Frank Zappa shirt on, but he wears eyeliner. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we ended up becoming like good friends, and we ended up smoking pot and shitty weed together, and just we just became friends and just hung out. So the rest was history. After that, we would hang out at each other's houses, and there was always like gear around, so we're always like messing around and always like playing different music for each other, and just listening to Deicide or whatever the fuck we're listening to, and then Edie Brickell as well. You know what I mean? So just we were like all over the place, and But yeah, so that's where we kind of like built from there, and then Terry was in a band called Sinister Fiend, and we'd see them like locally because Terry is like a few years older than us. And at the time, when you're 14 and Terry's like, 18, that's a big difference. You know what I mean? In those years.
Yeah.
And so, so we'd be out like the local clubs and stuff. And we can go see him, and he was playing these bands, and he was like already like kind of like way more mature musically. We were still just kids, like just trying to figure it out, but weren't like on stage playing shows. But Terry was already like kind of like seasoned by the time, we were like hanging out. And then Ty, he was younger too, like us, but Ty, he played in another band called The Color Red, and actually like later on, like when I was around 16, I got in a band with Terry called Brother Vibe. So I was playing some music with Terry in a band, and we were doing pretty good around here. And then Dry and I were playing in another band together. And then Ty and I hooked up to start playing in a Primus cover band together. And Ty was really, really good at just mocking Les Claypool when we were young. So he was kind of like like a savant, you know what I mean? It was like crazy.
Yeah.
And he still is. Actually, I love Ty. He's like one of my favorite musicians ever, and so we all like were playing together. Oh, I was playing with all of them like separately, and then I just like kind of said, "Hey, man, I think we should all put our forces together, and do this."
Yeah.
And so we started playing together, and kind of that's where it like spawned from, And I was playing in a band, each one of them, and just brought them together, and we were kind of moonlighting on our other bands and projects, and then it just made sense that this was that we wanted to do, and it made kind of what we dug the most. So we kind of put our energy into it full time. So
yeah,
that was it.
Nice. Yeah. I like just like the diversity of influences you talked about. I think that's fun. And I think John and I talk about that stuff a lot. Like people tend to lock into one thing or another. And I think they're missing out on a lot when they do that.
Well, you know what I gotta say? I agree with you. And I think, now it's kind of cooler, it's kind of the norm now to kind of dabble in different genres of whatever it might be, you know what I mean? And music or anything really, people that you hang out with, everything is just like way more diverse and just like kind of like normal, you know what I mean? Where before, I think that, when I was growing up, when I was young,
right.
It seemed like you kind of you had to kind of like join. It's like if you were to go to jail, you have to like pick, like, are you with the Mexicans? Are you with blacks? Are you with whites?
Right.
Are you gay? Or it's like you got to pick one. You can't just be like, and you got to choose a side at some point when you go to jail or whatever, or prison, and so it's like, as a kid, you kind of were so like, if somebody was totally like into The Cure and you were into fucking Slayer, you're like, fuck those guys, man. You know what I mean? Like I'm not into it. But you totally loved all the music. But you're like, okay, well, I like this stuff, too. But you know what I mean? It's like you felt like it's like guilty pleasures and this and that. And now it doesn't seem like it's a guilty pleasure. Like everybody just, you don't have to feel like, oh, you're like out of the club because you like certain other things or styles or whatever. It used to be very, very a little bit more like kind of like that, you know what I mean? Just like you were in a clique or you weren't, you know what I mean? So there was a lot of like kind of boundaries and borderlines there. Whereas like, I think now it's like celebrated and when you, before it's like you kind of had one specialty. It's like, if you're going to play the drums, you go play the drums. If you're going to play the guitar, you play the guitar. It's like now everybody wants to play everything. Everybody loves everything. It's just like, everybody's curious, and there's way more information out there and way more people that are like-minded that you can find just via, social media and the internet and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lot more ways to like kind of like tap into these like curiosities of, you don't have to like go and spend money on a record to go, well, I fucking hate that record. You know what I mean? What? That's a big waste of my fucking, weekend of mowing lawns and shit like that. You know what I mean? Or my paper route time. It's like, you're very careful about what you're going to buy. And then when somebody bought something that sucked, you're, you sucker. You know what I mean? Like, you got bad taste. You know what I mean?
Right. Or you kind of lie to yourself and tell yourself, no, I like this record.
Yeah. You're like, well, I spent the money on it, damn it. You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do? So, and so-and-so likes it. It must be cool.
Right.
Why can't I figure out why it's cool? Everybody else is wearing the t-shirt. I went and bought the record, but I don't fucking like it. You know what I mean? So what? What's going on?
Yep.
And so now you kind of have a little bit more of a means to kind of like digest it and then dig it or don't dig it. It doesn't have to cost you your time and your sweat, for it, which is, it sucks, but it's cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I hate lumping, entire generations into categories, but I do think that like the younger generation now, they're just much more, I don't know, there's less ego, I think in a lot of cases, a little kinder to each other. Yeah.
You know what it is too? I might add too is, everybody's like put on blast all the time. I think people, in a way, they're a lot more sensitive, but they're a lot more like caught like red-handed being stupid. You know what I mean? So everybody kind of has a little bit of that immediate like humility, that they kind of sign up for, that they elect to, have. So I think in that way they're a little tougher, but because it's just more normal to fuck up and all right,
yeah,
whatever, delete or whatever. But I mean, it's, but at the same time, no, you're right. It's
well, and you also got to wonder how much of that is just like they don't want to look like a douchebag on social media.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're trying to impress girls or whatever, so they're being more inclusive for I don't know what the reasoning is behind it, but I still think it's better. I mean, there were definitely times even just within those cliques, where just metal bands, everybody would just at each other's throats all the time, and just like, it's no good.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's like, you remember like before it'd be like some old picture of you would tell 1,000 words or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and now it's like, I'm so glad that we didn't have social media during some of my fucking stupid phases.
Oh no shit.
You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, I'm just like, man, there's like so many. I mean, for like all the goofy like poems I would have written a girl that I fancied, or it's just like,
the dumbass videos I know I would have made.
Oh yeah,
would still be out there. Like I would be unemployable right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like I, would tell my oldest back then. I was like, yeah, it's a good thing we didn't have cameras, like the Jackass era did. It's like we were doing that shit just for fun. We weren't filming it, or anything else. We did that just to bust each other up and have a laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'd hate to see some of that stuff surface, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every once in a while, just like if there's like, I used to skateboard a lot, so we have like old VHS tapes, and you can just hear it's all, like before my voice had dropped.
Right.
You can wear those like a badge now, though. People love posting them. I like finding old pictures of me look like shit and posting them.
Yeah.
There's some that you're like, that's pretty rad. You know what I mean? There's certain things that, when I had the, just doing goofy things, I would have a good laugh at. But there's a lot of stuff that I would be super ashamed of and embarrassed.
Ooh, that's cringy.
Look at my glorious mullet.
You got to ask, okay, what if it was 50-50 for you guys? Would you want to have it seen, or would you be happy that it's not seen? If it was 50% cool stuff and 50% totally humiliating, I never wanted, I'm glad it's not there kind of stuff.
I think it would be, again, kind of 50-50. I think there'd be some shit that I'd be like, yeah, that's funny. Even if it was like kind of humiliating, there's probably been enough time that I'd be like, yeah, I was an idiot.
But if you had to press a button that said like send
all or nothing,
don't send it, like would you, and it's 50-50, would you, yes or no?
Yeah, like a mystery box, or like just all or nothing, right?
Like everybody can see both 50-50s, or nobody will have.
I'd have to pass. I'd have to pass.
Probably.
I'd pass and keep it in memory.
Right. There'd be a couple of things that are just like, it's not worth it.
No.
I can embellish it better this way, I think, than I can.
Yeah.
Right. Do I get to tell a backstory with it? Because I think it needs a backstory.
Yeah, right.
First, let me explain. Yeah. Set the
I know what you're thinking.
Right.
No, but I see it, though. It's funny because, like, this is like another thing. So my daughter is 18. She just turned 18 in July. And so her and her boyfriend were, which is crazy that my daughter has a boyfriend. I was taking her to the airport they're going to Cabo for a little trip. And the whole time we're driving from my house in Riverside is about an hour, maybe a little bit more with traffic to get to LAX. And so I was driving them there, and the whole fucking time, like they're on TikTok, and like, I'm just like sitting there, that's kind of out of curiosity, see, are they going to even talk like to each other? Like, I was like, and then I was like, hey, let's put on some Linda Ronstadt or something like that. Some, total like sounding like music, and you guys are going to Mexico, all right, sweet. she's like, oh God, no, I don't want to hear that right now. And I'm just like, you just want to sit here in silence, just scrolling through TikTok, not even like acting excited, like you're going on your first trip, you're 18, you're going out of the country, you know what I mean? Like, you like all this stuff, and you're going with your boyfriend, and your dad's letting you go. You know, your papa's saying, okay.
Jesus Christ, that would have been like the dream come true when I was 18. I couldn't have, like, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to play the fucking, you know, some fun music, get you guys all hyped up to go and have a good time, you know, and they're just like wanting to stare at fucking the phones. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? You know what I mean? Like, at least indulge me. Thanks, Dad. You know, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You know, I'm just trying to have fun. It's like, now I feel like a total dork. I'm like, oh, you know, listen to Linda Ronstadt, a total fucking badass fucking singer with a badass, you know, the mariachi, like canciones, para mi papa or whatever. You know, like, there's two records that are super, super. They're just like the epitome of that kind of music, and she's just belting and nailing it, you know what I mean? And it's just gorgeous music, and I'm thinking, you know, get you super in the mood. I mean, for me, I would be like, fuck yeah, I want to hear that, you know what I mean? But they're just like, oh yeah, I'm just not in the mood for it, you know. I'm just like, what? Where are you going? You know, you're going the wrong place, you're going in the wrong direction, you know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's bad. When my kid turned 21, he kind of came back around, you know, started to figure it out, you know, hey, you know, Dad's not that bad. You know, I could have worse dads.
I could see some of that happening too. Like, there's a lot of stuff where I can embarrass her, and there's certain things where, like, for instance, I have no tattoos, and you know, she just went and got her first tattoo, and the tattoo that she got is, it's like a design that I came up with, because when we were younger and the band was coming out, there was like this thing, it was called LA Music Awards. And every year they'd have their stuff, and like different bands would be like part of it. And so we were just getting going, and just to be recognized was to be part of like the LA scene, and kind of like your name was always like constantly in the magazines and those little local free ones, you know, which were kind of was a good presence to have at the time. So anyway, they would ask you, and so they would call me, and that, you know, all the shows that you're playing for the month are advertised in there and blah, blah, blah. So they called, you know, to ask, hey, you got nominated. Sweet. Oh, awesome. You know, what genre do you want to call your music? And I was like, fuck, like
right,
heavy, you know, groove, this or whatever. I'm like, and I'm just sitting on the spot. I'm all, chick music, you know, and then I'm all thinking, well, you know, if chicks like it, then guys want to come where the chicks are, you know, stupid stuff. I'm like, the stupidness, you know, the stupidity of it, just like, it's all chick music. They're like, chick music. Oh, okay. They like laughed. I'm all sweet. And nobody else was chick music. So at least it stood out, I thought. And I just like just kind of spur of the moment, just like random. And so I did that. And then when we put out our first CD, you know, or whatever album, greatest hits that we did with Jim Wirt, was self-released, you know, we just put it under like chick music, and just like a fictitious label, and it was just like a little bird, it's like a little chick with a music note kind of coming out, and like two cracked eggs, like just cracked out in like a little
oh yeah,
like so I had that for the logo. So my daughter, she turned 18, and she wanted to get a tattoo, and that's what she got tattooed on her, is chick music.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean, that logo. So it was kind of like, you know, I don't have tattoos, and I don't tell her like, you know, what she can or can't do. I was like, all right, and she's like, I'm gonna get chick music. Really
nice. Well, that's a pretty big compliment.
Yeah. It really like hit home for me. I was like, oh, it's pretty. It means something to me, you know.
Yeah.
So she has come back around, you know, is my point, you know, a little bit, but she still is too cool, you know?
Oh yeah. 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 Well, he's 24 now, so he's, but loves going to shows and being stuff too. And it's become a total punk. And see, I guess it was just kind of hard to rebel against Dad in a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah.
I've done worse.
Yeah. If she wanted to become like a, you know, conservative, you know, member of the RNC or something, maybe that would have rebelled against Dad, but
yeah. Yeah, my daughter's pretty like progressive and just like everything. Like she went to UC Santa Cruz, you know, which is pretty liberal school, and well, she just finished her first year there, and now she wants to transfer. Well, she is transferring to Western Colorado.
Oh yeah,
and so she's going there. and which I think that's might be a little bit more conservative, but either way, she's doing that, but she's kicking butt in school and scholastically, and now she's like gonna go back and start studying music. She's minoring in music now, and UC Santa Cruz, she didn't like the music program there, so she didn't even take it, and I was like, but whatever, it's for her. And now she's like going back to minor in music and do all that, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What's her forte musically?
Musically, well, she started when she was 4 years old. She was able to read books, you know what I mean, like kids' books or whatever. And so I could start to teach her how to like break up syllables, and then I would write the note names for melodies for her little kid piano. So she started playing piano and being able to pluck out melodies if I just put it over the syllables, and the rhythms would just kind of like work for her because they're kind of, and it's a Disney tune or like Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It's built in. You don't even need to read the music because the melodies are there.
Yeah.
So stuff like that we would do. And then about 5 years old, she started taking piano lessons like from an actual teacher. And so piano, she was just whizzing at for a while, and then for years. And then she moved on. She took on violin as well. So she started playing violin at about 6. And then when she got into 5th grade, she took on clarinet because you can only play wind instruments in her school. And then she went on to play in California State Honors Band at NAMM show when she was doing that for clarinet. And she was still studying piano from a girl named Crystal May and her husband, Johnny May. And Johnny May plays at Disneyland. He'd play like in the Carnation section where those like really, really good piano players who like they play all the Disney themes, but like real ragtime and super speed, just fucking flying around. So she got to learn with them, and then she went to her high school. She went to a performing arts school, and she was in choir and piano and violin, clarinet and violin. So she was doing all that, and then she went on to singing and all that. So she's been she's a great musician.
Wow.
She's super, super good. And just watching her grow and like being with her and doing all that, it like reinforced all my fundamentals, like just coming up, through these, 18 years where she's just really just been on the books, and she's got all of her instruments. She plays guitar great. She's a super great musician. So I even had her working with producers and this and that. She just decided she wanted to because she's really been good scholastically too. They skipped her a grade when she was younger.
Wow.
And so, like I said, she finished her freshman year when she was 17, before she turned 18. So it's pretty rad. She's doing all this stuff, and now she wants to go back to music. I didn't push her into it. She just wants to do it. So that's great. Cause like I said, I would give her anything I could and try to put her in a position. And I had people that wanted to work with her, but she's decided school. And I think that's great. I'm just like, what the hell?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not, like I said, she wants to be a child therapist or psychologist. So she gets plenty of practice on me. You know what I mean? So.
Wow. Yeah. That's kind of my genre. I'm a therapist.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So watch what you say. He's constantly.
Yeah. I'm going to analyze everything.
Judging. The crazy part is for me, I dropped out of school in the 10th grade. And I was really, really young, playing music and all that. And I just had it in my head that I'm going to make it. I'm going to do something with it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy now, you know what I mean? And it's funny because for me, it took me a long time because Bella was super excelling, in school. And, I went and studied music. I took private. I mean, I wrote for Drum Magazine for two years, writing the education section and, and the instruction and all that stuff. So I read and I was I think somewhat smart or whatever, but I just never went to school. I just was busy playing music and just kind of on that path. And when Bella, her mother's family, they're all they're teachers and administrators and, across the family, there's a lot in there. And so, she's just been focused on all of her education and this and that, and it just excelled that way. And so I never wanted to tell her because I'm on her case, for some reason. I mean, again, she's been an excellent student, but if I need to say, hey, you need to do this or whatever, blah blah blah, or she just assume that her mother and I, you know, both went to college and, you know, graduated. Her mom did, you know, all this stuff, but to be a teacher, you know, and so I never wanted to tell her, you know, hey, you know, I dropped out in the 10th grade, but don't hold it against me because do as I say, not as I do, and all that shit, you know. I always felt like, oh shit. So I finally, you know, during her senior year, and it was like pandemic, and, you know, part of me, I'm just like home getting drunk, and, you know, and she's getting ready to go to college, so I can't like say anything, you know?
Right.
And she's already like just ace in school and just like, you know, all this shit. And I'm just like going like, God, this is crazy. And so I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna have to tell you now. I go, I never graduated, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what? Papa, you never graduated high school? Oh my God. Like, what? You know, and just like, and I was just laughing and she just didn't, you know, she's like, oh, okay, well. So I was thinking like, maybe I'll do like, cause I remember I heard like Marky Mark or, you know, Mark Wahlberg. He didn't graduate, and I heard some interview. He said like when his kids were getting ready to graduate, he went and got his high school, his GED or whatever, and kind of graduated the same year. You know, just to, respectfully, just so he could say he did it or whatever. I was thinking about doing that, and then it just kind of kept going. And I was like, I was just too busy. I'm like, fuck it, you know, she'll figure it out.
Backing up, speaking of awards and award shows, 2003 BET Music Awards.
Yeah.
These days video. Man, a lot of moving, but I watch that video all the time. I just think it's hilarious. But
yeah.
Did you actually face any charges or anything after that?
Well, yes, in a sense, like a couple of the production people had to go and kind of take it on the chin, be processed. It wasn't anything too crazy, but just because it was, when we did it on top of, it's like the Freemasons building. It's where Jimmy Kimmel records his show.
Oh, okay.
That building, which is across the street from the what used to be the Man's Chinese Theater. I forget what it's called now.
Right.
The Kodak Theater that's there. It might be called something else now too. But or Grauman's Chinese Theater. I can't remember what the hell. So it's like right there, the Walk of Fame and all that shit. So that was like that. So inside there is where they filmed that show, and on top of the roof is where we did it. And what we had said is that we were setting up because they were having the BET Awards that day, but we just told the city and told everybody, we're setting up to shoot a video for tomorrow, for the following day. And so that's how we were kind of just like let to be and do all that, because it's high security, you know, everything, all the rooftops, everything.
Yeah.
So they knew that we were there and we're just setting up, no big deal. And so we had it all planned. Obviously, we're going to crash it and all that stuff. Because originally, sorry to go back. Originally, we with Mark Klausfeld, we did the video with the director. We had a plan because it's right around the time to mentioning Jackass and all that. That was like super popular, you know, and we liked that kind of humor. We were all into like Ollie G and Sacha Baron Cohen and all that shit. So we were really into that. And I keep saying all of that shit, so I'm gonna try and not say that again. So we were into that kind of humor, and so we discussed doing something like that, and we were trying to think of things. And so there was Christina Aguilera and Justin Timberlake were playing at the Staples Center in LA. And so we decided that one of the scenes or scenarios would be where we're on a flatbed truck and there's, you know, looks like nothing. And then somebody comes and pulls off the front of it that says like, you know, something AAF, blah, blah, blah. And so when the kids are like waiting to like get in, you know, before the show, we kind of go in there and pull up in front of there and somebody rips off the thing and we're just playing our song. And they're like, what the fuck is this? You know? So that was like one of the ones, and we did that, you know, and that was cool, whatever. And then when we decided that we're going to go and crash the gay pride parade. And so we went and did that, and we spent 4 hours in the gay pride parade in West Hollywood. And, you know, and it was cool. We had a good time. We made a big old, like, it was like a flatbed truck that looked like an ant. Mm-hmm. And we were out there performing, and with that, we got to show up there early, get ready, get in line for all the floats and all that stuff, and everybody's like just dolled up, and you know, it's crazy, man. And we went and did that, and it's crazy because there's like the Westboro Baptist Church is like on the side with like, you know, God hates fags and fucking all this stuff, like, you know, this terrible shit, you know, and so we went through that, and it's like, wow. I mean, again, it was a lot of fun, but you see some of that hate in there, it's like fucking crazy.
Yeah, Westboro's real close to here. They're in Topeka.
Yeah. That's right.
So they come to a lot of shows in Kansas City.
Yeah, they go to apparently everywhere, but yeah, so we did that stuff, and so we thought, okay, there's two scenarios, and then the last was to crash the BET Awards, and then after we got all that, we did all that shoot, all those different days, the BET Awards was just way better than all that other stuff. I mean, that stuff was funny and fun, and there's some clips out there on YouTube where you can see like all that stuff, but the BET Awards was just fun just to get the reactions and all that stuff. So now going back to if anybody was arrested, what happened was in the meeting we had, like, we devised like all this like escape route. So we knew that once the cops were coming up there, like we would split off, like all four of us had different ways to go running down, the stairwells and this and that. So we all would make our way to this kind of base, which would be In and Out, which is a block away.
Right.
And so, we go and do it. We're having a good time and kind of like this adrenaline and all this stuff, and then we get word down there that like the cops are here, they're coming, blah, blah, blah. So then we shut down. We played through it like 3 times, to get all the fun.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So and it's crazy too, because Klossfeld, he had done like videos with like a bunch of different R&B and hip hop stuff, and had his production company. So he was in good with them too. So he actually got like red carpet, like access, and had a bunch of his different crew and all that just like stationed in different places throughout the award ceremony and the red carpet time. So he had everybody with cameras, all around on rooftops everywhere. So we were getting every angle that we could and had full access because he's just one of the dudes that are in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was wondering how you got those reaction shots.
Yeah.
And everything. It looked like quite the undertaking.
Yeah, that's a lot of planning.
Well, that's because he has like a relationship with those guys, or with all the different artists and with the different labels and networks and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So, and DreamWorks also like knew that it was going on, but couldn't tell the other part of DreamWorks because they got kind of pissed off at, one part of DreamWorks got pissed off at the other part of DreamWorks going, why didn't you tell us that this was going on? Because it was live, you know what I mean? And they had to cut to commercial, like, what the hell's going on? And so like all that stuff happened, if like people that were watching it in real time, they saw that they had to go to commercial and they're like, it happened, And so we got all that stuff. And so then, we have to make our escape, and the cops are coming. So we all went down, and it was kind of funny because everybody went down their routes and I went mine. And when I went down this one stairwell, I came out and I blasted into this door, and it was the Jimmy Kimmel show. It was like they were doing rehearsal for the show. And I just, punched this door, and it's like I'm at the top of the stairs, right there. And the whole theater just like looks in like, what the hell, And when I look, I was like, oh shit, like wrong door. And I run back and I go out where I think I'm supposed to go, and then fucking okay, get out. We all meet at In and Out. We're like, whoa, everybody's there. The 4 of us in the van. We're like, dude, that was fun. It was crazy, And then so 2 of the production people had to go and be processed. You know what I mean? Everybody that they knew what was going on. It was like kind of no harm, just a little foul. You know what I mean? And so they went and got processed, and that was that. But it was fun. You know what I mean? It was an exciting, like I said, like we felt like we were doing something bad. You know what I mean? But we were allowed to. It's like kind of like, if like someone's parents take you to go toilet papering, you feel like you're kind of okay.
Right. Yeah, that checks out. I see what you're saying. Yeah, with the LAPD, I guess that could have gone either way.
Right.
I'm glad you came out unscathed.
Yeah, there was enough cameras around. They knew.
Yeah. That's a good point. Keep them accountable.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, I'm glad you didn't have to pick a prison gang.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, I would go for the no eyeliner gang. I'd go for the death metal.
Right.
Just
and that's we kind of talked about that, though. You guys kind of fall under a lot of categories, I guess, if you're going to go with that idea, which kind of bugs me that we still do that so much.
Yeah.
Like, is there one that you feel like is unfair or that pisses you off, or something that you feel like you should be recognized with?
I could give you an answer for like a lot of different things. And you know, at times there's been some stuff I've never been pissed or like resentful over what. I remember there was one point because when we were starting out, you know, we wanted to be successful in playing music, but I was just thinking like on a level like of where a lot of my favorite bands existed. Now, a lot of my favorite bands got big after they were like not big, you know, but I still didn't think, you know, that we were going that route. And even before Amform, like that, I was like on pace to go that route. I thought I was going to have to like, you know, get good at my instrument and like kind of just, you know, work and do this stuff and not ever being like in a pop band or a pop scenario. You know what I mean? I thought it'd be in a band that'd be like whatever. Anyway, so once we got going and all that and started getting like some success and things were going good, I was like, you know, yeah, we can, you know, do this and, you know, like kind of like set the bar a little higher. But again, not to where we ended up getting. I never thought we'd be like a number one, you know, like become a pop band. You know what I mean?
Right.
I never ever even aspired or even thunk that or something like that, you know. And so that was like tripping. I remember at one point when we were like kind of at the height of everything, I remember we had a tour manager and he'd messed with us. And I gotta say, you know, there comes a time and there's probably bands that are better than us in this, right? Where, you know, sometimes you do get a little full of yourself when you get some. I don't think that we were like kind of like walking around like we're so badass or something, but there's a little bit of, you get a little like cozy in this, like kind of, you just think that, oh shit, like, yeah, like we're rad, but not like thinking like that necessarily, but just to where like kind of we've achieved like more than what we wanted. But then, you know, I remember the tour manager, he's like, okay guys, time to go put on a pop show. And I was like, what?
Ouch. Yeah.
I was like, don't call us a pop band. Like we're fucking, you know, totally credible band. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and so I remember that kind of like stinging a little bit. So, which, I mean, that's a good sting, you know what I mean? And then, you know, a lot of people I know have this like kind of weird thing about, you know, having the stigma of being a nu metal band, and which I never, I mean, came out in the nu metal era. I never really,
right.
That name never really like bothered me. I just was like, well, you know, everything's got, it's like being called, if you're like Gen X, you're like, oh man, I can't believe they call us Gen X, man.
I love the term Gen X. I think that's like one of the most it's the most badass sounding generation name ever.
Oh, for sure. You know what I mean? It's, but you know what I'm saying? But it's like, but if you're not that, you know, if you're Y, right, or if you're fucking Y2, right, or whatever it is, you know, it's more like, if you're, God, I'm just losing. I just took a hit. I'm being stunned. I was turning it out.
You're good.
What was I saying? Pick me up.
Nu metal.
Oh yeah. Okay, so nu metal. There you go. Thank you. So I'm just saying, like a lot of people like kind of like recoil, like being called or new. You were part of that nu metal this, or we were never nu metal. We hated that term. I'm just like, well, who cares? What if it's called old metal or, you know,
right?
Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like jazz, acid jazz, you know, this jazz, blah 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 jazz. You know what I mean? It's just like at some point, who cares about that kind of term? You know what I mean? And so there's little things like I don't mind. I think the pop band got me where caught me off guard. The rest of it, no term or being perceived as this or that isn't any big deal because I like all different types of music.
Right.
I know that for us as a band, like dabbling in genres, like particularly like in Alien Ant Farm, you know, it's been a blessing and a curse for us. Like where sometimes you need to like side with that prison gang to kind of be accepted at least in one place.
Yeah.
Rather than across the board nowhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, some people like that you're kind of pushing the envelope like that. Some people think that you're kind of like it's like a too lofty or it's like
yeah,
kind of master of none. You know what I mean? And so I get that, or it could be, you know, confused with being like, you know, self-indulgent.
Right.
So there's a lot of those things, and sometimes I feel like there's people that like almost like pander. Like sometimes people have like success guilt, where like, oh, we were successful at this, now we need to prove that we're also can do this, and we really are big and bad or tough, and you know, blah blah blah. Yeah. It's like I know that I can play this and that. I know that I can do this and that. I don't feel like I'm not in someone's club because I'm not as metal as them or as this is them or that. I mean, I honestly, I don't care about that.
Right.
I'm like very secure in my musicianship. And
right.
Well,
and fair or not, you're always going to have that tie into the king of pop.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
That that one doesn't bother me. And even people say, like, do you get sick of playing Smooth Criminal? I'm all, actually, it's a challenging song and it's fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I go, and to nail it every night, you can't just like mail it in. You gotta, I mean, if you're going to go up there and play it right, you gotta kind of lean into it a little bit. Pun intended again. But, but it's not easy. And again, I find it fun, to do. I mean, that's the whole reason that we did it. Cause it was like, almost like, it was so wrong to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was kind of uncool to do it at the time, Yeah,
I can remember. I remember thinking that as a kid and watching the video the first time, but it was only like the first 10 seconds. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then, and then I was like, "Oh, never mind. That's cool."
Yeah, what's crazy is I didn't even really go down this rabbit hole, but I had a friend that sent me some stuff, and it's like a bunch of different links come up but it's like the reaction videos for Smooth Criminal.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bunch of people, and it could be old people, it could be whatever it could be. You know what I mean? Guys, girls.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. It's like the first listen. It's like people that haven't listened to the music, and it's really cool to hear some of the people, like a lot of musicians and stuff. You know what I mean? But that just aren't familiar with the band, and it's fun to see the reaction. You could tell it's a fun song, and it's a lot of people that know Michael Jackson stuff, so they're like, like I don't know if they should have, if they can do this, like, they're doing Michael Jackson. I don't know, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's kind of cool to kind of get their approval and kind of shock them a little bit and see the reaction. Because, it was always like that. You could always see somebody like in the front row when we were first coming out and doing it, or somebody be whispering into someone's ear, like you could tell it'd be like, dude, that's the Michael Jackson song. And they're like,
right.
Like, wait, what? And then they look at each other, oh yeah, that's it. So you can kind of like seeing those reactions, and even like people would come with their own shirts. And this is before we were like kind of a signed band or whatever, it's like, they would like make their own shirts. It's like, you just mosh to Michael Jackson or something like that, make their own like Ant Farm shirts. And I was like, man, this is kind of cool, man. People are having fun with it. So they're like kind of being in on the joke or something like that,
Right. Yeah. And it took you all over the world, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It did everything. It's crazy too. Check this out. There's a guy named Carmen Rizzo, and he was like an engineer. He's done a lot of stuff now, and he lives in Czech Republic, but he worked on like the Bad record and all that. And he moved out. I lived in El Toro, California, and his sister moved out from Connecticut. And I was probably like, I want to say like in the 3rd or 4th grade or something. And they moved in, and the 2 kids were living there. And I saw them moving in. They had like drum, like a little like Muppet drum set and this and that. And I was like, what? I think I need to be friends with these people. You know what I mean? And so then later on, they were like all into music and stuff. And then his mom's little brother, Carmen, came out, and he was going to engineering school for recording and all that. And so he was out. So he ended up making it, and doing all this stuff. I mean, like worked with like SEALs, he's worked with everybody. I mean, it's just crazy. You know what I mean? So years later, it's just nuts. Like to think, I lost touch with them for years, and then now kind of got back in touch with the family and all that. So we're all cool. And someone that passed away that was on the record, like the synth guy, I'm blanking on his name right now. I feel like a fucking scoundrel, but I'll get it in a sec. But he worked with them on the Bad record, and he passed away. And so I wrote to Carmen, and I was just going, because I had written to him before and said, hey, I don't know if you remember me. I was Danny's friend. And, when you were on Solid Gold playing, like he was just kind of miming, playing with El DeBarge because they needed someone to come up there and pretend they're playing the drums. So he was like always there and like hanging around, and he kind of looked like Puerto Rican. Like I think they were all like that, but he's Italian, but he has like the curly kind of from back in that era. So he kind of just fit the shoe at the time. And So I just know, and I always like admired him. And so years later, I happen to make it in the industry too, and I would see his name, and I'm like, I wonder if he remembers me, and blah blah blah. So it was kind of like I would reach out to him, and just so anyway, the guy passed away, and I reached out to him like, man, I just want to say, hey, sorry for your loss, and thank you guys, and thank him, in the heavens and all that. I go, because of that song, Smooth Criminal, like I have a house, I have a career. My life is really, really good. So whatever you guys did in that session, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow.
And risk and all that. So it was kind of crazy and nice to be able to connect those dots and say, wow, it's been a crazy, interesting life. Like even like when I was in the 3rd grade, I was still thinking I want to do this, and people around me were doing it. It's just nuts.
Yeah.
Right. Who would, and that's the sort of thing, like life is stranger than fiction. It really is. These are the kinds of things that you could never predict. You know what? I'm going to be a big rock star someday covering Michael Jackson.
Yeah. And what's a crazier story too is that when I lived in Long Beach, I lived right next door. We had an apartment building that my grandparents built. And so we had 6 units, and it was like facing like an L, and the unit facing it, and there's a courtyard in between. And the other units were 8 of them. And on the bottom floor in one of the units was a guy named Calvin Broadus, who became Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
And when we were kids, and we were just like growing up in that little Long Beach neighborhood for a couple years, and just playing like kickball and stuff in the alleyway, and playing football in our little courtyard, and just hanging out and riding when I learned how to ride a bicycle, he was like, I had my Schwinn little mini Stingray, and he was like running with me, like holding me up, getting me to like learn how to ride bike on Long Beach Boulevard. So it's kind of a weird little synchronicity with all this stuff. But
yeah, that's crazy. He ever sell you weed?
No, our parents all were doing crazy shit, but we were kids, you know what I mean?
Right. No, I guess that would be hopefully the wrong age for that.
Yeah. I mean, but we knew being there in Long Beach at that time, we knew what the hell was going on. There was no secret. Yeah. But we weren't doing it. Our big thing was just fucking, if we could get some candy. I remember going and like pumping gas for a change to go buy candy,
Wow. Yeah. I can see that.
Right on. Papa Roach, you guys were pretty tight there in Riverside too. Another Riverside band.
Well, they're actually from Vacaville.
Oh, are they? Okay.
That's like just outside of Sacramento.
Okay.
They were in a band up there and doing like the same stuff that we were doing down here. And then we had some friends in common, and you would hear about other people doing other stuff. Again, this is before social media and all that kind of shit. I just said it. But anyway, we went up there, or we heard about them. And so their manager was down, and we were playing some shows out in LA, and we were at some party at one of the band's houses that lived out there. And so people would hang out. They had a manager at the time, and he was like giving us stickers and talking about them. And he's like, yeah, you guys should like play some shows together. They're doing this stuff, and the guys, I think you guys would play good together, and blah blah blah. And they're like, oh, they're called Papa Roach, and we're like Alien Ant Farm. That's funny, you know what I mean? Just like totally channel. So we ended up playing shows together. And we played a place called Friar Tuck's. It's in Pomona or somewhere around there here in California. It's like somewhere just outside of LA. And we did Friar Tuck's, and we got them a whopping $30.
Wow.
And
nice.
And I think we got like maybe like $200 or something.
In like 2000, I was on a flight with them.
No.
Yeah, it would have been then.
Yeah.
I just remember they were passing around a flask the whole time. And
oh yeah, we had some good parties and all that. But when we were younger, like I said, we were just like starting to play together. And it's funny because the first show, they came over to Dry's after we were hanging. I think we played like 2 shows or something like on that little weekend or whatever. We were hanging and partying, you know what I mean? And then they had to leave and go back up north. And so when they left, they couldn't find those $30. And they called us. They're like, hey, like, did we leave that? And we were looking and we couldn't find it. We're like, fuck, I wonder if they think that we like took it. And they're kind of like, and we were kind of like bummed, because that was like a lot of money, you know what I mean? Especially, when
right.
your van, like 8 hours and this and that. So then we heard from them again about it like a little bit later, and they found it. And we were like, oh, sweet, cool. And then everybody's happy, no weirdness, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so from then on, then they brought us up, and we'd open up for them out there, and then we just kept doing it back and forth, you know. And we again, it sounds silly and like it's like some story, but it or folklore or something, but it's true. We were sitting after one of the shows, we were like just passing around a bottle in one of the vans. And we were just like, man, we love you guys. Oh, man, like that new song you guys have. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I like this part. You know, just kind of just like being all chummy and all that. And we were just like, you know, both bands were starting to get noticed and talking to labels and this and that. It was starting to get serious, you know. And we had a good fan base, all this kind of stuff. So we were just like, you know, whoever's gonna make it, we're both gonna make it. Whoever makes it first, we're helping the other one. Like whoever, and we were like, I think we're gonna make it first, you know. You know, whatever, you know, and not that we doubted them. We were just like kind of just we were very confident. We were not cocky. We were like, I mean, both bands, you know what I mean. But it was very humble and cool. We were brothers, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But they made it first, and they owned up to it, man. And they brought us into DreamWorks. They kind of got like a label, a chance to sign a band, and they brought us, you know what I mean? And that was fucking
nice.
You know, it's a lot of like nice fluffiness, but to really do it is a whole other level of real like honoring, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine if that $30 hadn't turned up, right? You might still be, you know,
beefing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not assuming that they thought we took it, but you know, it just seemed a little weird. So yeah, good thing.
Yeah.
It'd have been like Blur and Oasis.
Yeah.
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 I only have one Papa Roach story. I was living in Springfield, Missouri, and they came through, and it was just like, you know, when Last Resort came out on the radio, Channel Z, which was the station Matt used to work for.
Yeah, I used to play there
as a DJ. And they were doing a remote from Remington's there, Matt. And I get in, they're like, hey, come on down, meet the band. You know, we're out at Remington's. And I was like, I'm like a block from there. And I heard one of the band members in the background said, somebody bring me a fucking cigarette.
That would have to be probably Tobin.
Probably. I'd never seen their faces. I just heard them on the radio. I was like, I'm a block from there. I got a cigarette. So, but as I'm driving over, I hear the DJ say like, hey, whoa, you can't say that on the radio. He's like, which one? Fucking or cigarette?
Maybe that was Kobe then. That's not Kobe.
I don't know.
That'd have to be Kobe.
I don't know. Could have been a crew member. All I know. I just drove up. Was like, who needs a cigarette? So we ran out, grabbed it. Thanks, brother.
That's not Kobe now. That would have to have been Kobe then.
Probably.
You know?
I'm not sure.
Speaking of associations, I know John and I are both big fans of STP.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those guys. Yeah, we did truant with them. The DeLeo brothers, Dean and Robert. They was like going to like school. We learned a lot about just songwriting. I mean, cool chords, harmonies, just like a lot of like just next level shit it just was everything just got like, it was like another level, like another dimension of just cool, again, chords and structures and just ways of writing music and getting it done, and tones and different guitars and gear, and just, you know, like, again, it was like, it was a lot, you know, it was a great lesson along the way. And forever, like even right now, as we're like, I'm talking, we're recording guitars right now, and just like different tones and stuff that we're getting. It's like we're moving around and got different amps and different guitars and blah blah blah, that we're always like messing around with tones just as a result of. I mean, you do that with everybody does that, but I mean, they did it to a different degree. It's like they brought in tons of amps and guitars. I mean, we were switching up every little section and doing this and doing that. It was really, really cool. So
yeah,
forever, it was like a life-changing and building experience working with them. And obviously they've written a ton of great music, and it's rad when you're like, you know, hanging out with them, and they bring in all their guitars, and you're just, you know, in a mansion in Malibu, spending every day writing, hanging out with them, just laughing, joking around about stuff and whatever. And then they'll just go over and grab a guitar, and so show you a guitar and they're like, oh, that's an awesome one. They blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. And they goof around. I wrote a little song called Interstate Love Song on this guitar. And I'm like, I'm like, man, and it's the truth. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck.
Right.
So you say you got about 5 tracks left. Are they all written, or you got to lay them down? Or?
Well, these are all written. These ones we have a ton left to do. We just have 5 that are up and running right now. So we have 4 that are done.
Oh, okay.
Now we have 5 that are being worked on right now, and then probably 10. And then maybe more. We have a ton of music.
Right on.
It's just a matter of which ones that we want to finish first that are like the most complete. Some of them are like 75% done, and as we record them, we'll just start getting ideas and working it out. So it's really, really cool. It's been a good process. We bought a bunch of new gear just to have it like seamless flowing, like I said, to where we could be doing editing in one room and like a real studio. So but it's cool. Like you don't have many basements in California, so it's really cool to break up the house like that.
Right.
It's where for 20 years I've had this house. It's where it's been our headquarters, where we rehearse here. We park all our vehicles for touring and everything here. Our gear. It is here.
Nice. It is there. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. You got a planned date or anything for an album drop or estimate?
No, we don't. In fact, you know what? I haven't talked about this. I have another band called Mystery Schools.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just to go back, sorry, Ant Farm, we're going to finish it. It's going to be some first or second quarter, I hope, but before next summer.
Okay.
We're getting it together, and it's on Megaforce, and they've been great, letting us like kind of get it together. And now we feel super charged and poised. And I'm glad whatever time it took for us to get going, we needed it. And so now it just feels super focused and where it needs to be, and whatever time, like I said, whatever needed to be done, it's all for the best I think for this record.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting it done, and it feels really good and harmonious. So there's that, and then like I said, we got that tour coming up in October, and which is going to be fun just to get our feet wet again and play with our friends. Like Lit and Hoobastank are like super cool guys and great bands, and we like going on tour with them, which we have before. So it's gonna be just a good little camp to be in, so that's going to be fun. And then, like I said, I have Mystery Schools. We put out our first single. It's called Don't Look Back.
Uh-huh.
We have a record that's just about done. We're going to be releasing that coming up here. We don't have a date set, but I'm going to have it mixed and ready this fall, like before we get out. Or just before we go on that tour by the end of that. Anyway, we're going to have the record done. We just have a few things to finish up with the mix and then get that out too. So that other band, it's tough because we have Tyler, the singer, who's in Vermont, and we have Mike, the guitar player, Mike Anaya. He's in Austin, and I'm out here. So it's like, to get us together, it's a little bit tough. And we've been back and forth. We're going to do this, going to not, all this and that. So we're just trying to like kind of get those loose ends together and get that music out there. We started Mystery Schools, like 10 years ago. And the music we've written, because Mike and Tyler were in 2 different bands that I produced separately. In a band called Sabrosa Union was Mike, and a band called The Urgency Tyler was in. And then we got together, we started writing music together, or they started writing music together online. And then they came out here and we started recording it. And so that's how we came about to become a band, and it was just kind of all organic and such. And then now it's just tough because we kind of put it to sleep. Everybody did their other stuff and just never got a chance to get it out there. And then during the pandemic, I sent it to some people, and so it had some like new life in it. And so we're finishing it, and I love the music. I'm super proud of it. I think it's just awesome, and I wouldn't be doing it obviously if I didn't think that. So I think we all should like our music.
Yeah.
But I believe in it, and I can't wait to get it out there. It's really just it's something that like I feel like just I've been sitting on for a while, and it's beautiful music. I mean, like I said, I can't say enough about what I think about it. And most people that I show it to agree and like it, or they lie to me pretty good, you know. And
Well, I was listening last night to you've got some stuff on Bandcamp.
yeah, see, some of those songs we're gonna have on the record, but it's like remixed and some parts redone, so it's gonna be buffer, kind of like the Don't Look Back version that's out. You can hear it's just a little bit. It's just I've been actually like, you know, treated, whereas like a lot of the stuff we put out like a little 5-song thing on that Bandcamp, and it was done, but it was just like kind of to have something because we were going to play South by Southwest, so we just wanted to throw out a bunch of free burned CD stuff. You know? So we just wanted to kind of leave a mark, so that's where that came from. And then now those songs were recorded, and we have it in this like the actual finalized the mix. And like I said, we had Mike came out and spent a few weeks out here, and we just like got any like overdubs and different things that we needed for like all the songs. We have about like 30 songs, so that's all like done. And we're gonna have like one more little session together where the singer Tyler and Mike are coming out, and we're just gonna, if there's any last little bits that we're just gonna button up, and then like I said, that record's done, and it's pretty badass. I like the music is just really, I just think it's really good quality music. You know, I'm like I said, I'm really proud of it. Super emotional. It's fun. It's melodic. It's rhythmic.
Nice.
It's just got like a lot of cool stuff to it. Like I'm like I said, it's this and Ant Farm are like my two like proud bands. You know what I mean? That I have a lot of stuff. I have a girl called Fadine. Mm-hmm. She like when I unleashed that one. I mean, you could find there's a song of hers called it's called My Ego, and it's on YouTube. There's a video. I'm playing on that one, but I'm not producing that one. But her dad, Bill, my buddy, he had the song and had her do it. Anyway, it's awesome. She's just got a gorgeous voice, and she's an awesome artist. And then I have 5 songs that I'm doing here that for an EP that we're wrapping up, and she's awesome. We have it's been like a scheduling thing. She's been pretty busy, and so we just have a few last little things done and hard to do, and it's awesome. It's like she like wants to be like Dolly Parton, Linda Ronstadt, again, Joni Mitchell.
Nice.
Right
like
on.
That kind of like old school like singer songwriter, Chartreuse, whatever, you know. Like,
oh yeah, dig that shit too. Thanks everybody for listening to Undetermined the podcast. Special guest drum extraordinaire Mike Cosgrove.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us, man. Had a great time. It's good to meet you. Yeah, man, we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to all new music coming out
for sure.
Mystery Schools, and you work on the new AAF album. So take it easy, man. Thanks a lot.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me, and hopefully we can do it again sometime after we get these records out and talk about what came of it.
Anytime, man.
Yeah.
If you just want to shoot the shit, we love to hang out.
Awesome, fellas. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.